So many times when I'm teaching harmony and chord progressions, I'll be playing something like this. And we're talking about, oh yeah, we're going to, F minor over G back to C in this cadence, or E7 sharp 9 to the F. And then as I'm doing this, people will be putting in the chat as I'm teaching. They're saying, well, what are you doing between the chords? Can you teach us how to do that? These little chord connectors. I've only done one little short video on the chord connectors. These intuitive little notes that we put between chords. But they are super powerful. They take a basic chord progression like what we have here today, and they put some personality to it. It's just an easy way to make it sound a lot better. Like if I were to just do this sounds really good, and it serves a place in certain music for sure. Nothing wrong with this. Basic. But if you want to put a little more personality to things, you might add some chord connectors. How much fun is that? That's what we're going to be working on today. This is a guided practice session, so get to your piano and get ready to work, because we are going to be working. Thank you for joining me here today. My name is Adam Maness, and these are the chord connectors. This is brought to you by Open Studio. Go to openstudiojazz.com to go on a deeper dive for everything that we are covering here. And also, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. You are watching this video on Open Studio's YouTube channel. We go live every other Saturday for a live guided practice session here. And so we'll be live 2 weeks from today. So do not miss it. There is a PDF for this guided practice session. I'm going to be putting the notation on the screen for you, but it might be handy for you to take it with you and to put it on your piano. It might be easier to read. So you can download that here in the description. Don't forget to grab that PDF. That's free. That's yours. Okay. Here's what we're going to be working on today. Like I said, we're going to be working on these chord connectors. We're going to start with a basic progression. I'm going to walk you through this very basic progression, what I was just playing there in the intro. And then we're going to add some connections to each one of those chords. First, starting off very simple, using chord tones with quarter notes. Doesn't get any more basic than that, but just that one basic move, just our very first basic move, can like open up a whole world for you if you don't know this world. Next, we're going to talk about neighboring tones. So using notes that aren't in the chord voicing that we're playing, but are next to one of the notes in the chord voicing we're playing. We're going to start to mess with rhythm at that point. And then we're going to talk about rocking some of these tones and connecting through rocking. And then we're going to talk about rolling and rolling some of these tones and connecting through rolling. So again, basic chord progression. Then we're gonna connect the chords using chord tones, neighboring tones, rocking, and rolling. Got a little excited there. Got a little tongue twisted. It's because I'm excited to do this session. This is one of my favorite things to work on in my own practice. And like I said, I haven't done very many videos on the chord connectors. I think because they're kind of intuitive, but we can break it down in a systematic way. Y'all know I love to break things down in a systematic way. Let's start with just the basic chord progression. So this was the same progression I was playing at the beginning of the session. We're in the key of C, and we're going to start out with a C. And we're going to play an E7 sharp 9. I'm going to take that to the 4 chord in F. We're going to add this to, you might call this an add 9. Our friend Amy Nolte has a great video on calling this the add 9, which I agree with, but 2 just looks better to me, so frankly I just use it. E2 over G sharp, that's that Open Studio move chord that we like to talk about. That's a secondary dominant going to our A minor 7, our D7 sus. This is really, if you look at it, and I almost wrote it like this, it's just C over D. So anytime I'm talking about a D7 sus, I'm thinking about a C major triad over a D in the bass. And not a D chord, just a D root. Same thing with our G7 sus, it's very similar. It's a D minor triad over the G. So you could call that like a G9 sus, I guess, but anytime we have these sort of dominant 7 sus sounds, it's kind of open to what we want to do. You can add a C there as well. It's going to sound really, really nice. And then here's our G7 sus with the flat 9. That's, again, an F minor triad over the G. So these, like, if you look at the last 2 bars, that's a C over an A, right? It's all triadic based. C over an A, C over a D, D minor over G, and F minor over G. I love thinking about these kind of triads in this way. Now the voicings here are important because we're going to really start by using this particular shape. Before we get going here on our basic chord progression, let's just go back and let's introduce ourselves to our metronome. Our metronome today, y'all, it's the beat from Dr. Funkenstein, the Parliament classic Dr. Funkenstein, made famous by Jerome Bigfoot Braley. Listen to this. Let's just get a little warm up. I encourage you to just shake it out here. Maybe roll your shoulders. Give your back, neck, shoulders a little love. And get in a nice supported position. I'm getting to the edge of my seat. Let's do a bit of a chromatic scale here up and down, shall we? Before we get to our playing our chord progression, let's just get a little warm up there. I just want to do this 4 times. Let's do da, 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 da. So 16th notes, up and down 4 octaves. We're going to start on C2 and C3. We're going to go up chromatically 4 octaves, up and down 16th notes. Ready? Good. 1, 2, ja, da, 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 da. Let's do it again. Ready? 1, 2, da, 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 da. Take a big deep breath here. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the feeling of the feet on the floor. I love to connect to the seat, my bottom to the seat, and my feet to the floor as I'm doing these technical exercises. Kind of ground me in reality in the moment. Take my head out of thinking about mistakes and whatnot. Let's try 2 more times. 1, 2. Play with me. Again. 2. Da 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 da. Last time. Actually, let's do it one more time. You know, as we're doing this, it can be so easy to just check out of this. One of the reasons I like to feel my body is I want to remind myself that even when we're warming up or practicing scales, it's still a performance. We've got this amazing beat here from drum genius Bigfoot Braley playing the beat from Dr. Funkenstein. Let's lock into that. We don't have to be a robot. It doesn't have to be even. Let's just lock into this drum groove. Let's try it. 1, 2. Technique warm up with a purpose. Shake it out. Take a big deep breath for me. The biggest breath that you've had all day. Take it right now. Don't cheat yourself on the out breath. Go all the way out. That feels great, right? All right. Back to our chord progression. So now we're feeling warm. Our head is in the game. Our heart is in the game. We've got our amazing metronome here. I use Drum Genius, by the way. People have been asking what I've been using. I use the app Drum Genius. You can download these amazing beats, legendary beats, and they're so much fun to play with. Way better than a metronome. Let's try this progression here and just play it as is. Nothing connecting it for now. Let's just play what we have here. Shall we try it? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Nothing extra. Just hear the progression, listen for the voice leading. Let's do that 2 more times. This is going to be the basis for everything we do, these voicings specifically. Let's break down a little bit again the theory behind what we have here. So before we get into the connectors, I can't help but talk about the harmonic theory here. So if we look at the first chord for each bar, these are our landmark chords. We've talked about this before in other guided practice sessions. 1 is the first chord of the first bar. The 4 chord, F, is the first chord of the second bar. The 6 chord, A minor, is the first chord of the third bar. And that 5 chord is the first chord of the 4th bar. So those are the landmarks. They're the pillars of our progression here. Everything else is a pathway to get there. So the E7 sharp 9 is a common pathway. A dominant chord from a half step below is a common pathway to get to the 4 chord. Here we have that mu chord, right? That E over G sharp. That's a secondary dominant going to A minor. Here we have the D7. That's a secondary dominant, the 5 of 5, going to our 5, G7. So we've got our landmarks. We've got our pathways. That's how this chord progression is made up. Let's see about connecting these things. Now that we know what we have, how do we connect them? So if we look here at example 2, we're going to start connecting them with chord tones. So our very first chord is our C major, and we're going to go from the top note, we're going to go up to a G, right? That's one of the chord tones of the C major triad, and that's going to connect us to our E7 sharp 9. What we're doing here is making little melodies. I'm adding a little rhythm to these so it's not just straight quarter note. And then from our E7, right, we've got the G on top. We're going to hit on the end of 4 here this D, right, which is part of that E7 sharp 9 chord. Right? That's the 7th. We've already played it. Then we get to our F add 2 here. We're going to add here on beat 2 an F, right, which is the root. So we can always add that. Our E2 over G sharp has the E on top, and then we're going to restrike the B just below middle C. Going to our A minor, right? We're going to hear on the and of 2 hit our G natural, right? Which is the lowest note in the voicing. All of the notes that are the connector notes are part of the chord for this first one. Our D7 sus. The lowest note here is an E, right? That's that C triad with the E on the bottom. We just put it on top. And the same thing happens here on the G7 sus. The lowest note on this voicing is an F on our D minor triad. I'm just going to go up an octave. Then our F minor triad, that G7 flat 9 sus 4, right? The lowest note is an A flat, right? That is beautiful voice leading, bringing us back to the C. Let's hear how this sounds. Let's try playing this as written, shall we? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and. I mean, we're one step in. This is one step in, and listen to how musical that already sounds. Let's do it again. That's incredible, right? It's just a little thing. Like, you don't have to overthink this. You don't have to come up with the perfect thing. I'm literally restriking part of the chord we're already playing, and we've created this beautiful melody. You already sound like a pro playing through chord changes, actually being able to express yourself. Let's try it again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Repeat it. 2 more times, number 2. We're just connecting these chords in various ways here today. This is our first way of doing it, using notes from the chord that we've already played. And you can see it already makes it super musical. It's like we've got a melody now being played. One more time here, one more time. Come on, how great is that? So again, the chord connector in this case is just one note that's between each one of our chords, right? And that one note is part of the chord we've already played. It's the easiest way to do it. You're already playing a C triad. Connect to the next one with a note of the C triad. It's going to sound great. We know because it's in C. Because we're already playing it. We've already established that it's part of what's going on. Let's look at number 3. So now we're not going to use as our connector notes, right? The notes that are between the chords. We're not going to use part of the chord tone. We're going to use something that's a neighbor of a chord tone. So here in our very first one, we're going to use this F. That's not in the C major triad. And here on the E7, right, we're going to stay on that F. We're going to start with the neighbor, and then we're going to end up on the chord tone of our E7 sharp 9, right? It's just another way of playing melodies, right? And there doesn't have to be a rule for this. It's really whatever sounds good. If you're in the key of C, something around the key of C, the white keys, is probably going to sound pretty good. Here on our F, right, we're going to use a D. That's not part of the F add 2 triad. Here on the E over G sharp, we're going to use the same D, right? That's not part of that E add 2 triad over G. On the A minor 7, we're going to use that same D, right? We're just going to kind of be going between the E, the D, and the C. Again, the D, 7 sus, right? It's that C triad. We're going to add the D, not a part of the C triad. The G7 sus, we're going to add the E, which is just a neighbor to the north of the D. And then for our F sharp, back to that D. Let's hear how this sounds. Let's play it together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Another melody. Frankly, it's a little bit richer than the first one because we're adding chord tones that are writing tones that aren't in the chord, right? We're adding notes that aren't necessarily being played when we originally strike the chord. Again, just using our ears. Let's do one more time here. So we've used chord tones to connect just with a note that's one note that's in between our chord, and we've used the neighbors of the chord tones to connect. Just again, one note. We're just doing one note so far, and we're already making some pretty great progress. It's already a lot better, or at least a lot more expressive. We'll say that than this, than just like chord, 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 chord. Right? We're actually adding a little bit of melody here into our harmonic content. Let's add some more notes between. So instead of just one note, maybe we could do a few notes. We're going to start with the concept of rocking. And this is where we're going to rock back and forth on one of our chord tones to one of our neighbors. So this is like kind of combining what we just did. So the rocking, we start on C, right? We're going to rock down to the D and back up to the E. On the E7 sharp 9, right? We're going to rock from the D down to the C and back up. Right? So this first bar, we're just staying within our hand. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just staying within our hand, just getting some nice melodies. On our F2, we're going to use that top note, that C. We're going to rock up to D and back. On our E2 over G sharp, We're going to rock from the B, the middle note, up to the C and back. Again, we're in the key of C, so if we're borrowing somewhere, even if we're on an E major chord, which this is an E major chord, borrowing up to that C is going to sound good because we're in the key of C. We're going to A minor, which has a C natural in it. So you could do a C sharp. So take you out of the key. It might give you like a woo bird kind of sensation, but I like the C. A minor 7, we're going to, again, rock down from the E. The D7 sus, that C triad over D, rock up that top note. Same thing here on the G7 sus, creating a little pattern. And I love this on the G7 sus flat 9. Isn't that cool? Just giving you like a ba-da-da. Let's hear how this sounds. Play with me here. See if we can get through this. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and... I might restrike my D7 sus and my G7 sus. There and here. Sounds good. We're just on number 3 here. Last time, number 3. So again, if you've ever seen one of my videos where I'm teaching about harmony and you hear the little things, these little things that I'm doing in between the chords, it's all this stuff. It's all this just broken down a little bit more structured. When you start playing around with this too, you can really start having fun just hearing these different sounds. I've kind of made these exercises so that you can hear it a little better. So we've done rocking. Let's do rolling. I am in St. Louis, by the way, hometown of Chuck Berry. We can rock and roll here. we know all about it. So rolling, if I look at number 5 on the page, which that should obviously be number 4, but I didn't want to do number 4. I wanted to go right from 3 to 5, and I can't tell you why. But here with our rolling, it looks more complicated than it is. If we look at our right hand, I'm striking the chord. We're playing eighth notes here, right? Striking the chord, and then I'm just going from the bottom of the voicing, rolling up. And I'm doing that on every chord in my right hand. This is really all you need to do. I have some more complicated stuff in the left hand that make it kind of fill it out a little bit, add some additional texture. But this will get you a long way. This is a great technique here. In the right hand, sorry, the left hand. I'm just either adding like a root above to add some rhythm, or a fifth, or I think one time I add the 7th on the G7. Let's try the rolling technique. I'm also using a healthy bit of sustain pedal on each chord, you know, letting it roll nice and get it nice and big, like have it swirl a little bit. Let's give it a go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. such a great technique, especially for tunes with a backbeat like what we have here. Notice dynamically too what I'm doing. I'm not doing this. No. The rolling is very gentle. There's an accent there on the 1. And then we're just kind of ghosting the chord after that, right? So we're striking that 1 pretty hard, or at least harder than everything else. And we're sort of just bouncing on those 8th notes after the 1. And sustaining on every 2 beats. Lifting the sustain pedal on every 2 beats. We might strike the 1 and the 3. Might put a little swing on it, because Bigfoot Braley has a little swing on it. Last time, we're not robots here. We can make it feel good. Put a little butter on your eggs. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that's some rocking and some rolling. Now, if that rolling feels maybe a little too basic for you, what if we did it in 5s? What if we wanted to practice our time? What if we wanted to challenge ourselves a little bit? Can we do it in 5s? So this is going to be challenging for some of you, but I'm telling you, you can get in a real groove on this. We're going to do 5 tuplets here. Now, this isn't exact, and I'm kind of being liberal with my left hand here towards the end, just wanting to fill things out a little bit. I might not play it exactly how it's written, but what I'm going to do is try to time 5 tuplets onto the beat. They don't always have to be even. Remember, we're not robots. We're human beings. There's butter involved. I don't know why butter. I did actually have butter on my eggs, so maybe I'm thinking a lot about butter. So if we do this, we have to really be conscious of just trying to first find the timing. It's hard to mathematically calculate out the 5. So we can kind of just rubato this, getting the landmarks, or the every 2 beats. Finding the timing of 5 tuplets. Somewhere between 8th notes and 8th note triplets. Take off the sustain pedal so I can hear the attack more clearly. Again, I'm just trying to time it to the 1 and the 3. I'm not thinking about the mathematics of anything. Letting it be very free, actually. If I have to catch up, I have to catch up. If I have to slow down, if I'm too fast, I'll do that. It's trying to find the groove. How great is that? These can be so much fun, by the way, because they do free you up. I've done a lot of transcribing here for Open Studio, and I can tell you, a lot of the greatest pianists in the world do stuff like this that doesn't show up evenly on a map. They're feeling their way through the time. Two more times. Got it back. Lost it, got it back. Last time. All right, one more time for real. One more time for real. Those are 5-tuplets. Do not sleep on the 5-tuplets because they are the most fun. I have one more thing to do with you here. Before we do that, I just want to remind everybody to grab the PDF. We do have a PDF. If you just got here, there's a PDF in the description. That's yours to take. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. It helps spread the word of what we're doing here. Thanks, everybody, for your work today. We've got one more little exercise to go. Let's see what that's all about. Rolling sixes, some triplets. This is going to sound really good with Bigfoot Braley's beat here from Dr. Funkenstein, because Bigfoot Braley is playing a straight eighth note, and we're going to play an eighth note triplet, and it's going to clash. It's going to sound a lot like When It Rains from Brad Meldau's Largo album, and we're going to love it. Let's do it. This, by the way, is a little bit easier even than the 5-tuplets, but probably has a little bit more uses. Like, it's probably a little bit more practical. So dot 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 dot. There's 6 eighth notes every half note, right? So what we're gonna do here, I should just break it down real quick. So we strike, and our left hand is gonna roll up. Right? I've picked some good sounding notes in the left hand. It can be really whatever you want. Here I'm gonna go up a 10th. Again, using lots of pedal. I'm lifting every 2 beats. Right? Getting a nice tenor region, baritone region line going on the bass. And then on the right hand, we strike the chord and then follow up after the left hand is done. This creates like a continuous sextuplet here. Put it up against Bigfoot's eighth note. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and. My favorite so far. Two more times here on the sextuplets. Last time. Could have at any time done some 16th note too, but I wanted to stop here because I want to do one more time through. We're going to go back to just looking at our basic chord progression. Now, I'm just going to play the basic chords. I want you to practice on your own without me doing anything with you. These chord connectors. I want you to practice quarter notes using chord tones. I want you to practice quarter notes in between using non-chord tones, using neighbors. I want you to practice using the rocking, right? Rocking back and forth, and the rolling. You can roll in 4s. You can roll in 5s. You can roll in 6s. You can roll in 7s. I don't care. You do what you want. Because I'm just going to be playing the half notes. But this is your free play time to just have fun with what we've done. If you want to change, by the way, the inversion of what we're doing, I encourage you to do that. If you know how to do that and you want to try different things, see if you can practice connecting the chords. Shall we try it? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Maybe just start with some quarter notes in between. Improvising your own melody. Maybe some neighbors in between. Like that. Maybe try rocking from a chord tone to a neighbor. Just explore here, just explore. Maybe try rolling. Let's try maybe mixing and matching. Maybe you do some chord tones. You do some rocking, you do some rolling. Last time here, this is your time. You just want to do a C major pentatonic jam, feel free. How'd you do? Did any of it stick? Did you get to do any of the chord connectors? Are you feeling a little bit more confident in making some little melodies within your chord voicings? Anytime you have some comping like this, right? Comping where you're going to have to fill some space. And by the way, this isn't just with like backbeat stuff. Like when McCoy Tyner plays a ballad, he's doing this kind of thing, right? When Hank Jones is playing a ballad, he's filling almost every beat. You know, sometimes using whatever the six diminished harmony that we all know and love, but he's filling it with these little chord connectors in a very similar way to what we just did here with our backbeat groove. Like, it's not just style specific. You can do this in pop music. You can do this in jazz. You can do this in all kinds of music, classical music, ornaments. Like, it has a whole thing, right, where you can do this. So it's super practical. Again, thank you for joining me here today. I can't tell you how much fun these little sessions are. I'll be here back live. We're live here every 2 weeks. So every other Saturday. The next Saturday we'll be live is Saturday, March 23rd, 2024. If you're seeing this before then, please come through Saturday, March 23rd, 2024 at noon. And if not, well, I guess I'll see you later. I don't know. I don't know. If not, you know, hit like and subscribe on the video and you can see whenever we go live. We'll let you know. Thanks everybody for your work today. Until next time, happy practicing.